In today's video, I'm going to correct an FCE or B2 first letter. Now, this is one of the older FCE assignments. Contemporary assignments are usually informal, but this is a nice and interesting formal letter. So let's have a look how we can improve this formal letter and how this person would actually be marked. So before we start looking at the student's work, let's have a look at the assignment and see whether they've done what they have to do. So this is the assignment, it's writing, 90 minutes, and it says you must answer this question. You and your friends are organizing a class trip. You've seen the advertisement below, but you need more information. Using the notes you've made, write to out of class, giving necessary details and asking for further information. So we have an advertisement and it says out of class, it says let's organize your trip everywhere in the world. It gives some things that they do, special prices for large groups, a range of sporting activities, comfortable accommodation, and individual information packs. It says write a letter of between 120 and 180 words in an appropriate style. Do not write any addresses. We also have some notes, and we need to include those notes when we're doing this assignment. The first note is that we want to know 2 examples of countries where they've been or what they organize trips in. We also need to know what they mean by large groups, and we need to tell them about our class. We need to say something about horse riding or ask the question about horse riding while I'm talking about those range of sporting activities. We need to ask about the rooms. Are they single rooms? Are they including meals? And we need to know what is included in those information packs. So there's quite a lot to ask in this very short letter. So let's see what this student has done and let's see whether they've done everything that we actually need to do. So before we actually start looking at the assignment, let's have a quick look at the Cambridge B2 assessment rubric. And what do we see? We see that they judge or they assess the work based on several elements. There is content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. And of course, content is all about what the person has done in the assignment and whether they followed the assignment correctly. The communicative achievement assesses whether someone is able to use the conventions of a particular style or format, and whether they're able to communicate their ideas effectively. And something that's very important here is that we see a distinction between straightforward and complex ideas. So that's something to take into consideration. Then we have organization, which basically measures whether someone is able to use cohesive devices and patterns to create a cohesive piece of text. And of course, there's language that looks at vocabulary and errors, spelling errors, and grammar, and whether you can do that correctly as well. Let's have a look at the assignment and see how this person performed. So this is the assignment, and don't forget this person had to write a letter asking about information about a school trip going abroad to any country that they like. And here we have their text, and we see that something immediately stands out, and that's a convention issue. So one of the first things I want to change is this, because here we have dear sir or madam, and in general the convention is not to say sir or madam, but to say sir/madam. So that's the first thing I'm going to change. And then I want to add an extra white line or space between this area to create a new paragraph. And we get, I am writing to learn more about your advertisement for the organization of a trip anywhere in the world. My friends and I have great interest and we would love to be more informed about this opportunity. Now, as you know, when you write a formal letter or a letter to anyone, you want to start with your reason of writing. And if you want to know more about how to write letters, have a look at my linked video up here somewhere so that you can check what the actual format of a formal letter or formal email is. But in this case, this person has started correctly with the reason of writing. And they say, I'm writing to learn more about your advertisement for the organization of a trip anywhere in the world. And I want to rely here on a certain phrase that you can use when you're writing a formal letter. So the first thing I'm going to add here is regarding. And I'm going to remove a few things here as well. So it now becomes, I'm writing regarding your advertisement for the organization of a trip anywhere in the world. And even though it rephrases the thing that the organization does, it sounds a bit weird. So I'm going to change a few things and make it sound more natural. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say for organizing trips anywhere in the world. And you will already see that we have a spelling issue. Microsoft Word shows us that we have a spelling issue. And the spelling issue has to do with style. In American English, we write organize as a verb with a Z. But in British English, you can also write organizing with an S. And as you see in the assignment, they do that with an S. But in this case, we're going to stick to American English. And because Word it has been set to American English, so we're going to do that throughout the assignment. Then we get, my friends and I have great interest and would love to be more informed about this opportunity. Now we have some nice structures here, but I would say that this is unnecessarily wordy. You can say this in a simpler way, and you can basically say that my friends and I are interested and we would love to be more informed about this opportunity. Now, it is not an opportunity that is given, it's an advertisement. So someone is is advertising their services. So what I want to say is that my friends and I are interested in your service, because that's what they offer, and they need more information. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a comma, and we would love to receive more information about your services. So now we have our reason of writing, or we've stated that we're interested in that service, and we have a few questions that need answering. Now we have a few paragraphs that include this information or these questions, and one of the things that I really like is that this person has used firstly and secondly cohesive devices to make it a cohesive story. So we'll leave firstly in. And then we get, it would be great if you could give me at least 2 examples of countries where your company out of class plans an excursion. Are these places far away? Now, even though this is a nice construction, there are a few things that I would change here. And it has to do with the final part of this sentence. Because it says, of the countries where your company out of class plans excursions. But that sounds a bit weird and it sounds a bit strange, I'd say, to say where your company plans excursions. So what I'm going to say is, give me at least 2 examples of countries, and not the countries, but countries, because we don't know which countries they are, to which out of class plans excursions. So it says anywhere in the world, so we don't know which countries they do, and we know that they don't do only one excursion. They do excursions to all of these countries. So that's why we say to which out of class plans excursions instead of one excursion. Then we get, are these places far away? I think that's fine. I think we can leave that there. And if you would know where this person is from, it would make sense. But I would assume that in a real situation, you would include information of your own country and from which country you're planning your excursion. So that's fine. So this is the first thing that we had to do in the assignment, and that's done here. Next, we need to do the second thing, and that has to do with the large number of people and the large groups and that get discounts. Secondly, I read that you offer special prices for large groups. Excellent sentence, an excellent beginning of this paragraph. And then it says, I would like it if you could give me some more details about this point. Now, even though we understand what you're trying to say, we understand the message of this sentence, it doesn't really sound very natural. So let's change that and let's make it, and let's turn it into, I was wondering. And then we would say, if you could elaborate more on the requirements to qualify for these special prices. Now, there's a reason why I added these extra sentences, these extra words in this sentence, because there are a few words that stand out. First of all, we have the word requirement, which is a B2 level word, so that's a word that we would like. Qualify is also one of those B2 words, and those are the words that we need to include to show that we have the large range of vocabulary to discuss these topics. Now, the next thing that we want to know is whether we are able to get these special prices. So, and I don't want to say the word that I want to include, but we need to add something that says that. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to use the word, we're going to include eligible. Eligible is a C1 word, very difficult, very nice, very high level, and it means that you are able to get something and that you meet the requirements to get something. So we need to add And that's going to replace this final sentence, which is, I do not know if me and my class can benefit any discount, as that will be great for us. Now we have a very common grammatical error here that we need to adjust. So we're going to say, I do not know if me and my class, but that's not correct. I do not know if my class and I can benefit any discounts. Now what I'm going to say is, I do not know if my class and I are eligible for any discounts. And then we get the sentence, as that will be great for us. Now this is not completely incorrect, and it's not something that's very wrong, but it doesn't really fit the context of this sentence. It feels like a misplaced idea. And the reason is that it has an unclear antecedent. So it's not really sure what it refers to, the that. So we're going to change it a bit, and we're going to say, but, because we want to, have a different connection here, a large group price reduction would be great for us. So this means that we have a large group, and that because we have this large group, we would like a price reduction. And that would be great for us because we're young people and we don't have a lot of money. So this is a very nice way to ask whether we're eligible for such a large group discount. Then we go to the next sentence. And there is another cohesive device, another thing that puts everything together. So let's read, and then we'll make some adjustments. Another thing that was mentioned by you was that you organize a variety of sporting activities. Is horse riding also one of them? And when it comes to accommodation, I also have some more questions. Are there any single rooms? If yes, are the meals included, or must we take extra money with us? And the last one, what do individual packs have to offer? So even though there are nice chunks in here and very nice constructions, it doesn't really flow very naturally, and we need to make a few changes. So the first thing that I'm going to change is this. Remember, I mentioned that we write organize with a Z or with a Z because it's American English. So we need to change that to be consistent. Then we have a nice passive construction. Another thing that was mentioned by you, and we're going to remove by you because it makes sense in this case that the person who we're writing to was the person who wrote the advertisement. That's what we said in the beginning. So we're going to remove by you, and we're going to say in the advertisement. And then it says, was that you organize a variety of sporting activities. And I think that's fine. Then we get the question, is horse riding also one of them? I think that is fine. It's not a mistake. It's not completely incorrect. But to make it more coherent, to make it more coherent and slightly politer, I'm going to add some extra words to this. We're going to say, I was wondering whether horse riding is also one of them. And then we remove the question mark and add a full stop. Then we move on to our next question. And to structure the letter correctly, we're going to ask this question in another paragraph. So we're adding a few extra lines and we're starting a new paragraph. Now, I always say that if you can start a question with and, you can connect it to the sentence that comes before. In this case, we can't do that, so we can remove and because it doesn't fit. We don't want to start our sentences with coordinating conjunctions. Don't forget about that. So what we do is remove and then we get, when it comes to accommodation, I also have some more questions. Now, even though this is a nice construction, we need to add a punctuation mark, a comma. But if you want to be completely correct, you could say, I also have some questions regarding accommodation. I think personally that sounds better because we're writing a formal letter. So let's do that. Let's say, I also have some more questions regarding accommodation. We have two questions here. So what we could do is we could include more of those cohesive devices to show that we have two questions. It reads very nicely if we do that. So let's do that first. We'll say that we'll add first, are there any single rooms? And then we also want to say available, right? Because we want to make a nice round sentence. And then we get, if yes, are the meals included or must we take extra money with us? Now, I feel that there's no link between single rooms and the meals that are available. So I want to change that and I want to say second, so we're removing the if yes because there's no link between the two things. Second, are the meals included or must we take extra money with us? Now, even though it's clear what we want to say, do we need to take extra money to pay for those meals? I want to make it a round sentence again. So I'm going to say, must we take extra money with us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And then we get, and the last one, what do individual packs have to offer? Now, even though this is not incorrect, it has nothing to do with accommodation, right? This is a new thing. So that means that we need to have a new paragraph. So let's do that. Let's add a new paragraph and say, finally, that fits with the first, second, and the rest of the things that we have. But I also feel that we need to add a bit more. So what I'm going to say is, you mention that individual information packs are offered. Here we have a nice passive construction. Passive constructions are, high level, so that's a good thing. Then we need to add that we want to know what is in those packs. So we're going to say, I was wondering what is included in those information packs. And now we have a nice round sentence. We don't have a random question in these paragraphs, and I think this works quite well. Then we get our ending. It says, I'm looking forward to hearing from you as soon as possible, so that we also have some time to think and make the right decision. I think that's fine, but I think we can make it a bit less wordy and say, so, and then we remove that. We also have some time to think and make the right decision. But what we could say, to save a few words, because we are already on the higher number of words side, we could say, and decide accordingly. And hopefully, accordingly means that we make the right decision. Accordingly is also a C1 word, so then we've included some extra difficult vocabulary. Now, these are the changes I would make to this letter. There were a few problems, and there's one big problem here as well, and that is the number of words that we have, because we needed to stick between 140 and 180, and we're now at 220. So that's not very good. So we need to remove a few things to, cut down on the number of words. So one change we could make to save a few words is in this paragraph. What I'm going to say is, I was wondering if you could elaborate more on the requirements to be eligible for these special prices. And then I'm going to say, because a large group reduction would be great for us. And then we've already saved a few words. Let's see how many. So we've saved 14 words, so that's good. We could also say that we remove so we have some time to think and decide accordingly. And that also saves a few words, of course. And I think that we could also say that we remove the "are these places far away?" because that's also not extremely relevant in this case. And we now have 188 words, so we need to remove a few words as well. What we could say is, I was wondering what is included. Now, if you want to improve your level, you could even do something that's kind of the opposite of what we're doing, but you could add and connect these two simple sentences together to make sure that you have a compound sentence, and that's just to improve your level. And one of the things that we could also remove as I'm going through the letter again is this part here. And you could say that you just remove the should we take extra money for us? And then I think we have the right number of words. Yeah, we are at 174. So, as you can see, we needed to make a few changes to improve the natural flow of this formal letter, but overall it was already quite good. And if we have a quick look at the assessment rubric, we can see that we've done everything that we had to do. We've done all the content of the text. We know that the reader is fully informed. It's clear what our questions are and what we want to know. We have used some conventions of the communicative effectively. We've used the right structure. We've used extra paragraphs to make sure that what the questions are. We've used coherent devices. We haven't done a variety of cohesive devices because we've repeated first and second. So that's not very good. It's not full marks, I'd say, but it's generally well organized and coherent, using a variety of linking words and cohesive devices. But I would even say that we've used some basic linking words. But then again, the assignment is not that big, so it's quite difficult. It's not a large assignment, and it is quite difficult to include a variety of cohesive devices. If you look at language, of course, we've done a wide range of vocabulary. We've included some C1 words and B2 words, so that's fine. We don't have grammatical errors, and we've made sure that we don't have spelling errors and that our spelling is consistent throughout our assignments. So that's basically it. That's how I would adjust this B2 first formal letter asking for information about an organization that organizes trips abroad. If you found this video useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you want me to correct one of your works, let me know in the comments and I will give you my email address so that you can send me your assignments. If you want to know when one of my other videos comes out, don't forget to subscribe. For now, thank you for watching and I hope to see you in one of my next videos.